Good morning, students. After the completion of our Unit 1, that is Graphs in Economics, now we are on Unit 2, that is Indicators of Growth and Development. Now, the chapter is in 12th standard, but certain questions of this chapter will be helpful during your graduation also. Questions like physical quality of life index, it is asked in BCom. Question of human poverty index, it is there in graduation. Question of human development index, it is also there in the higher studies. So this chapter is not only useful for your 12th standard, but it will be useful in future also. Now, see, the name is Indicators of Growth and Development. Now, indicators. Suppose we are traveling from Kankaria to Gujarat University. I mean, for some reason, you are going to Gujarat University from Kankaria and you don't know the route of that. And someone has gave you a piece of paper where it was written that from Kankaria you go to Dani Limda, then from Dani Limda you go to Anjali, then from Anjali to Nehru Nagar to Gujarat University. Now, but how we come to know that the particular area is located in which direction? So on roads, on every crossroads, such indicators are placed. That if you'll go this side, Narol, if you go this side, Jamalpur, if you'll go this side, then Dani Limda. Yes. Those are the indicators indicating your destination. That in which direction you need to move. Same way, if I am talking about indicators of growth and development, then these are the indicators which indicates growth and development of a nation. Growth and development of a nation. For example, PCI, per capita income, is one of the indicator. If per capita income of a nation is good, or if per capita income of a nation is improving, so it indicates that the development of a country or the country is developing. So these are the indicators. And in this chapter, we are going to study 4 main indicators. Number 1, national income. Number 2, per capita income. Number 3, PQLI, physical quality of life index. And number 4, that is HDI, human development index. But before talking about those indicators, let us talk about the terms growth and development. Students, for a layman, for an ordinary person, growth and development both are same. They are making the use of these two terms interchangeably. That is, for a layman, for a common person, growth and development both stands for the same. Both stands for the same. For a layman, there is no difference between growth and development. But technically, but conceptually, both are different. Growth is different and a development is different. Now, the concept of growth and development becomes very popular after the Second World War of 1939-1944. 1939 and 1944. After the Second World War, as many countries faced damages, economies of many countries were badly damaged. So they needed to reconstruct that. They needed a development. They needed a redevelopment. And so the terms growth and development becomes popular after the year 1939-44, that is after the Second World War. Development and growth. Mostly we treat that development is for developing countries. Development is needed in developed countries also, but for developed countries, development is for some different reasons. For developed nations, development is for some different nations. For example, poverty is in America also, poverty is there in India also. But when we talk about the situation of poverty in India, we have absolute poverty. Means a person is not having that much amount so that he can satisfy his basic needs of food, cloth and shelter. And when it comes to American nations, the poverty there is not the situation where they are not getting food, cloth and shelter. The desire, the demands are relatively more than what the Indian poor are known for, or the Indian poor people demands. So development is needed in both the nations. But for developed countries, it is for some different reasons. And as we have discussed that growth and development are considered to be the same. They are used interchangeably. That is, for majority of people, growth and development are same. But as you have opted for a commerce stream and you are a student of commerce, so the difference between growth and the development must be clear. It must be clear in our mind. To distinguish between these two terms, to differentiate growth from development, to differentiate development from growth, economist of the world, one economist of the world, that is Professor Mrs. Ursula Hicks. What is her name? Professor Mrs. Ursula Hicks. See, she stated that when we are talking about economic problems of developing countries, then the solution is economic development. And when we are talking about the economic problems of developed nation, then economic growth is the solution. So you need to keep this in mind for understanding the rest of the chapter, and also it is there in section C. In 2 marks, the question can be asked: the solution for the economic problems of developing countries, that the countries like India, is economic development. And the solution for the economic problems of developed countries, countries like America, countries of Europe, Japan, the solution is economic growth. Means economic development is related to developing countries and economic growth is related to developed countries. Once again, economic development is related to developing countries and economic growth is related to developed countries. So, for the last time, let me repeat. According to Professor Mrs. Ursula Hicks, the solution of economic problems for developed countries, the solution is economic growth. And the solution for the economic problems of developing countries, It is economic development. So this one was a basic introduction to the chapter. Now let us start with our very first question, that is meaning of economic growth and its limitations. Economic growth, as discussed here, that economic growth is the solution for the economic problems of developed countries. So we are talking about developed countries. We are talking about developed countries. So now when we are talking about developed countries, we need to keep in mind the solution for the economic problems of such nation is economic growth. The basic meaning is continuous increase in the real national income and real per capita income. Now students, in 11th standard, in initial chapters, we have seen, in chapter number 2 we have seen the meaning between or the difference between the monetary income and the real income. So in case of economic growth, we are not talking about monetary income, we are talking about real national income. That is, we are talking about the purchasing power, we are talking about the spending capacity. So when in a nation there is continuous increase in the real national income and real per capita income, that is termed as economic growth. Which means if a developed nation wants to achieve economic growth, then there must be continuous increase in their real national income and real per capita income. Here NI stands for national income, PCI stands for per capita income. So real national income and real per capita income. Is it clear? Okay. One more definition I have written on a board, that is given by Professor Hansen. It is based on the above simple meaning itself, and one hint I would like to give. If the definition given by Professor Hansen is clear in your mind, then the limitations will be more clear. You will be more aware from the limitations viewpoint. So simple meaning is given for the basic understanding, but in examination, if you want to present your answer in a better way, the definition must be written which is given by any author or any economist. So here the definition is given by Professor Hansen, and it is easy definition that economic growth refers to the growth rate of, now growth rate of what? Growth rate of national income. Definition over. Or means economic growth refers to, fine, what? Growth rate of national income. Now national income exactly stands for what? Already we have seen in 11th standard economics in the chapter of national income itself. Or rise in the total quantity of goods and services. That is, if in your nation the production of goods, the generation of services rises continuously. If in your country, if in your nation, the production of goods or the generation of services, if it rises continuously, then it is termed as economic growth. Students, keep in mind, they are talking about only production. They are talking about only quantity. They are talking about only quantitative changes, because they feel that a developed country don't want, developed countries do not want any qualitative changes, which is partially right, partially wrong. So once again, economic growth refers to the growth rate of national income or rise in the quantum of goods and services. Limitations. There are 4 limitations to the concept of economic growth. As we all know, no concept is free from limitation. No concept is free from limitation. So we have 4 limitations. Number 1, only quantitative changes. See, the first limitation is derived from the definition given by Professor Hansen. Here we have written rise in the total quantum. Quantum, that is quantity. So only quantitative changes. This is the first limitation that they focus on. They emphasize on only quantitative changes. Qualitative changes are ignored. Qualitative changes are ignored. Then number 2, institutional and psychological changes have no importance. This is the second limitation. These all are qualitative changes. Number 2. Now, institutional means your social structure. The institutes in your society. Let it be the social institutes, your social systems, and psychological. It is implied that when we are talking about society, when we are talking about social changes, when we are talking about institutional changes, we are also talking about psychological changes. So, developed countries, for attaining economic growth, they ignore the aspect of institutional and psychological changes. This is the second limitation. Now, it is the derived answer. As they only focus on quantitative changes, they ignore qualitative changes. As they focus on quantitative changes, so implied is they ignore qualitative changes. Number 3, the concept is very narrow. Because they focus on the quantity, they focus on only one aspect, that anyhow there must be increase in the real national income or real per capita income. Quality of the life is ignored. The state of mind is ignored. Psychological changes are ignored. Social changes are ignored. So it's a narrow concept. It is a narrow concept compared to the economic development. It is narrow concept compared to the economic development. And the last one is, last but not the least, number 4, welfare. The welfare aspect, that is a welfare aspect given by Professor Alfred Marshall. They do not consider, they do not focus, or the welfare is not important at all in the concept of economic growth. Welfare, the concept of welfare is sidelined. So now, what have we seen in today's lecture? The basic introduction to the chapter, then the question 1, economic growth. In that case, a simple meaning and the definition given by Professor Hansen. Then the limitations, 4 limitations we have seen. Okay, so we end our session here, and in our next video lecture, we'll be talking about economic development, difference between economic growth and economic development, and 4 indicators of development. Clear? So, thank you. Take care.